Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Trackside Broadcasting. I hope everyone's had a great week so far, and now it's time to finish it off with some great racing action here tonight. As always, before we get underway, I'd like to thank the Tanzo Racing Group for letting us bring you all the action this season, and to our sponsors, Valhalla Liveries, and us here at Trackside Broadcasting. Also, make sure to share the YouTube link to friends and family so more people can support your favourite drivers. So we are now on race 7 of 8 tonight, only 2 left to go. And we're here at Barber Motorsports Park, a fun, fast little circuit in Birmingham, Alabama. It's been an awesome season so far, and yeah, with two race weekends left remaining, points are going to be crucial for those fighting for the championship win. But before we begin, joining me in the booth, as always, will be my co-host and right-hand man in broadcasting, a man who brings all the energy and a great sense of humour too. So let's get him in here with me and say our hellos. Good evening, Gaz. How are we doing today?
Good evening, Jimmy, and good evening, everybody. Oh, Jimmy, I am fantastic. It's Sunday night. We've had a great week. I've had a brilliant week off of work as well, my mate. Really enjoyed the sun, and I'm looking forward to finishing it off, mate, with an evening of racing. We are in Birmingham, Alabama, like it says. We're at Motorsport. We're at Motorsport. Sorry, we're at Barber tonight. You said Birmingham. I did think for a second you were somewhere close to my neck of the woods, mate, but I think there's a little bit of a difference from the Brummy side where I'm near, and those Birmingham Alabamians. I don't even know. I do apologise about that, but no, Jimmy, I'm doing very well. Let's forget about everything that I just said there. I'm doing great though, mate. How are you doing? How you feeling about tonight, mate? Barber Motorsport, great track.
Oh, I'm feeling fantastic, and yeah, I mean it is a great track. I love it. It's one of those tracks that's perfect for the kind of slightly slower cars like the Toyota GR86s. It's just yeah, lots of curve, very bouncy, very fast, flowy track. It's just a lot of fun. And yeah, should we before we begin, do you want to let everyone know how it works in this season?
Yeah, before we jump down to trackside and we jump in with qualifying, we're still under 5 minutes, plenty of time to get down to there. Just to remind everybody at home, just in case you are just joining us, or just to remind everybody as we are getting close to the end of our 8 week series, we are on race 7 and 8 tonight here at Barber. Each weekend we'll open with a 30-minute practice. That's done, that's dusted, that is out the way. Everybody out on track together for that one. We're now in our 15-minute lone qualifying session. So these drivers out on track on their own, and they've got a maximum of 3 laps a set of time out there. They haven't got to worry about anyone else around them, so they can really lock in, get their heads down, and set the best lap time they can. In about 10 minutes' time, quality will be over. Then it is a standing start. There is 2 races tonight. Our first race, 20 minutes, followed by a short 5-minute break. We'll jump straight into the 25-minute second race of the evening after that, and that'll be 5 lights, standing start, and away we go. But Jimmy, now all that's out of the way, shall we jump down to track and shall we have a little look at how it's all getting on down there?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at where people are at the moment. We've got Jack Veazey leading the way in the pros and overall with a 1:34.5. Obviously, it's going to change as people go around, with Andrea Magli just behind him with a 1:34.6. Joseph Lopez with a pretty good time so far with a 1:35.1. So that's the top 3 at the moment. So yeah, very close times there. Everyone's kind of within the 35s to 34s. So I expect it's going to get a lot closer towards the end of qualifying. What do you reckon?
No, we usually see how close it is between the guys out there. Look, I know we've got the pro and the am rankings out there, Jim, but they're usually quite close together. And when they are separated, the classes really do keep themselves quite tight in there, in the timings between them all, really. So no, it usually does make some good, interesting racing. And like you said, Barber Motorsport is better for these kind of cars, really, isn't it? It should make some good racing tonight. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think we still possibly might have a couple of drivers left to join us, so we should have about 10 on track tonight, if the numbers are correct there, Jim. So, but no, it should be a pretty good one. I am looking forward to it. Like you said, great track, really fun to drive, really bouncy, really flowy, but better for these kind of, better suited for these kind of Toyota 86s here, slightly slower than what most people would probably be used to watching thrash around.
Yeah, it is it's a really good track, and like I'm personally a big fan. It feels like we use the word roller coaster a lot, and I mean I think all the best tracks are kind of that have that roller coaster feel of lots of elevation and curves and lots of high speed and just kind of yeah feels very fast and exciting.
No, it should be a good one, mate. It should be a good one. There you go. We've had another driver join us out there for this evening. But Jimmy, look, we've got just under 10 minutes left to go. We've already said it a couple of times. We're on race 7 of 8 at the moment. So do you know what that means, Jimmy? That's going to bring us towards the end. Well, it's going to bring us to the end of the season next week. And that is a very, very, very sad time. I'm sure you'll agree with me there, won't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, no one likes it when the season comes to an end, apart from the person who's leading the championship, I'd say. But
Well, yeah, that's about the only exception I'll allow in that situation. But Jimmy, what that does mean though is we can look forward to next season, and it's all been put together. The 21st of June is when it is going to start, mate, and we are doing the Fast Eight. Now I know you know what the Fast Eight is, Jimmy. Do you want to let everybody have a quick idea of what we're going to be treating them to next season, but not too much?
yeah, so I won't go into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it for you. But the Fast Eight, I think the title kind of says everything it needs to. Lots of very, very fast, almost kind of bump drafty, kind of very like big tracks, big name tracks, and yeah, it should be very very exciting. It should give amazing watching for everyone at home, and it should be a bit of a different experience than this season for those driving. We have got 2 endurance races this season as well, so just to shake it up a little bit. I mean, we've talked about it before, but if you're unfamiliar, so normally we do a 2-race weekend. So we have 20-minute race, 5-minute break, 25-minute race. But the endurance ones are one solid flat out 45-minute race for the drivers. So got 2 of those, and the rest of them will be the
They,
split race
they
weekends.
No, they do make it interesting, those endurance races, Jim. But everybody can see it. The Fast 8 Championship on their screens at home. We are all over the place. We're in the US. We're back in Europe. We're scattered all over. We got Daytona in there. We got Monza in there. Indianapolis, Navarra, Hockenheim, Road America, Watkins Glen, and Thruxton, Jimmy. 8 absolutely fantastic races, guys. Remember, the 21st of June is when that event is starting. That season will be starting. The sign-ups, you can find them in the description of this video. We'll put it in the comments as well for you guys at home. Do make sure to sign up if you enjoy watching along, because it'd be great to have you driving along with us next season long. Let's boost the numbers up, guys. Remember, 21st of June. Jimmy, I'm already getting excited for that one.
Yeah, I mean the one I'm really looking forward to as well. I mean Daytona's always a banger, Monza's always a banger, but then Navarra Medium, I think that'll be so much fun to watch. That track has essentially 3 corners, and it's an endurance race of 45 minutes, 3 corners. I think there's going to be one hell of a gaggle going around that track, and then yeah, that'll be very exciting to watch. But yeah, it should be great. Make sure you do sign up at home to be part of it, and if you're not willing to be part of it, please watch along as well because it'll be very, very entertaining.
No, please, please, please do. Like I said, 21st of June, guys. Sign up link is in the video description and it is in the comments for you guys as well. So please do sign up. I'm looking forward to that one. But Jimmy, we've got 2 races left, 2 race weekends left of this season. We got just under 5 minutes to qualify. We've got 10 drivers in with us now, and surprise, surprise, Jack Veazey, now that he's joined us, he's sitting at the top of the leaderboard again.
Yeah, 34-4 at the moment with Andrea Magli, with a 34-6 right behind him. Joseph Lopez still in 3rd place at the moment with a 35-1. So there's a little bit of a gap towards from the top 2 to 3rd place. But I think a track like this, there's a lot of room for getting that slipstream and getting a bit of draft and following pretty closely. So we should see how it goes. It's also got some very difficult corners in there, so anything could happen.
No, anything good, anything good. Lee Martin's what I'm going to be looking at this week. Obviously, we had a few less drivers. A couple of the younger guys who sit at the top out. Lee Martin did finish first in both his races last week in the pros. Is he going to be able to catch up to Andrea and Jack Veazey this week, especially now with Jack being back, Jimmy? Something definitely to keep an eye on as well. But Rob Barber, Joseph Lopez. Joseph Lopez won the first race last week. Rob Barber won the second race last week. They're sitting in first and second in the AMS on the leaderboard at the moment. Where are them two going to finish? We are getting very, very close to the end of that season. Like we said, the points are so close, Jim. You look in the pros, there's less than about 10, 15 points, I think, between the first 3. And you look in the AMs as well, there isn't that much between them either. I think there's 13 points in between the top three there. It really could go anywhere in any direction, that championship next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, with it being that close, yeah, you don't want to miss a race, really. You don't want to have don't really want to have anything going wrong at all. Otherwise, that could scupper your chances a little bit. But yeah, I think one to watch here, Robert Barber. I mean, it's called the Barber Motorsport Park, so you'd hope you'd be familiar and pretty quick at this one. And yeah, I mean, there's basically a second between first and last place, so it's pretty much anyone's game at this point.
No, it really, really, really is, Jim. Straight for John Johnson. Hopefully, he can get himself a little bit quicker of a time up there with the rest of them as well. But no, less than a second between the top 9 drivers at the moment. We should have a real interesting race, and hopefully, these guys stick quite close together. So we see a lot of actual racing, Jimmy. That's what we're all here for.
Yeah, and we're just seeing Lee Martin now. This will probably be his best opportunity for getting a good lap in. And no, I think he
No,
bails
no,
out at
he's
the
not
last
doing
minute.
it.
I think he is done.
Oh,
So it's just Rick
join.
Wishon left. He's the last one out on track. So let's see if he's got anything left in his pocket to get a good time down. He's not currently up on his time at the moment, but we could see he might have an absolute belter of a goes
It's
off in the
gone
last
wide
corner.
there.
So
It was
no,
the
I
same
think
with Lee Martin, Jimmy. Sorry just to interrupt you there. Lee Martin looked like he did the same when we cut to him as he came around that last corner there. They both looked unsettled as they came around, which I think hindered their laps quite a bit there. But Rick is powering on, so we'll have to see if he can do anything as we go into the last 2 minutes of qualifying.
yeah, I mean, I imagine he's probably got his times on the board. I mean, sat currently in third in the pros. It's not a bad position to be in, to be fair. And I think with Andrea and Jack potentially battling ahead because of how close their times are, it might give him a chance to kind of keep behind and keep in that fight as well. Lee Martin, though, has got his work cut out for him, being about a second off from the top times there. But like I said, qualifying and race, very different kind of skill sets, and I imagine, like, I mean, some people have great race pace, so we could see Lee Martin within a couple laps being up there fighting with the top. I mean, he's usually been fighting with the rest of the pros anyway, so
Yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see what he does. Qualifying obviously puts you in your starting position, but that can very soon quickly change after a couple of corners, a couple of laps. So Lee Martin definitely wants to keep an eye on there if he does start as low as he is at the moment compared to the other guys up ahead of him. But no, just under a minute left of this one, Jimmy. It really is one of those tracks again. Just going to touch on it, and I know it's one that you like to not really say, but it really, really is roller coastery, and that's how the actual drivers who've driven this track in real life have compared it to, mate. It's a small track, but there's so much elevation change. There's lots of blind crests, so many technical corners. It really does not give you a lot of time to relax whilst you're going around in these cars. Well, in any car, really, to be fair, it's one of those kind of tracks. So it should make for an interesting, good race, mate. I really am looking forward to this one.
yep. And with about 10 seconds left to go, and then we will be starting to line up on the grid, ready for the race.
No, there you go. So we'll bring you the finishing, well, the starting order, I should say, there in just a moment once it all finalizes, and we'll get it up on the screen for you. But no, 2 races to go, Jimmy. 20 minutes tonight, 25 minutes just after it, and then one more weekend left, and that'll be the
Yeah.
end of this season. And we'll see who's leading the way in the championship, won't they? But tonight, Jimmy, take it away. How's it looking for the start of this race?
Yep, so leading the way on qualifying results, we have Jack Veazey starting in first place, followed by Andrea Magli. Then we've got Joseph Lopez in third place overall, but leading the AMS in third place. And then we've got Rick Wishon behind him, followed by Robert Barber, Phil Giles, Casper Roost, Lee Martin, Denan Bronze, and John Johnston.
There you go. There you go. And you can see them already lining up already, Jim. There's only a couple of cars that we're waiting on.
Oh,
That
little
Jack
flash
Veazey
hello
at the
there.
front. Jack Veazey at the front of the pack, giving us a little flash there, letting us know that he's ready to go.
No, that wasn't Jack Veazey, that's Andrea in second place, isn't it? Given
Oh,
a
is that
little,
Andrea in second? Is it Jack that we're waiting on actually? No, Jack's sitting out there. I'm pretty sure Jack. No, Jack's out there.
yeah,
That's
that was
Andrea
Andrea.
who's flashing us. Yeah.
I
Do
think it's the
apologise.
Yeah, we're missing one car towards the back. Whoever's lined up in front of John Johnston, just waiting on them. But there you go. They popped in just now, and yep, just
Lee
Lee
Martin keeping us waiting there. But here we go, Jimmy. Take us
building
away,
a bit
will
of
you?
suspense. Yeah, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and away we go. They are off. Very similar starts from everyone. A couple of people at the back, immediately going to the center of the racetrack just to see if they can get a position at the start. Amazing start though from Andrea, going from second to first and leading off the line straight away. As everyone sort of falls in line behind them, Lee Martin going too wide with Robert Barber further in the back. Can he get the position done? We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, immediately kind of getting a bit of a train going and sort of going a bit single file here as they kind of want to get that slipstream. And as Joseph Lopez makes the dive on the inside to try and get position, but has to fall back. Doesn't quite get a good enough exit as he taps the car of, oh, I didn't see who that was, Casper Roost, I think, just on the inside. And oh no, it's Phil Giles. Sorry, getting a bit of a love tap from Joseph Lopez there as they are off. But no, I mean, big battle from them two, as it is difficult to go side by side there. And getting the inside, what a beautiful move there from Phil Giles as he moves it up to 4th place overall, but now currently leading the AMS.
There you go. What an interesting start to the race there, Jimmy. Great start from Andrea, like you said at the top of it, right there, getting himself from second to first pretty much instantly. Looked like a very, very slow start from Jack Veazey there, so something not quite used to seeing him do there. But we know how quick of a driver he is out there, so I'm not expecting him to be dilly-dallying around behind Andrea for too long. Oh, a couple of cars going out wide there. Denan, Casper, and I think Lee just tapped the grass as well there. But no, very interesting battle up there a moment ago as well between Joseph Lopez and Phil Giles, mate. Side by side for a lot of that proper chopping and swapping and switching back on each other as they were going around there. Makes some really interesting viewing, that does. But it seems like Phil Giles has settled himself up there in a P4 out on track P1 for the AMS at the moment. And Joseph Lopez has just dropped behind Rob Barber, who's got himself up to P5, P2 for the AMS. So there we are, just after the first lap. Andrea Maglai still leading the way in P1, followed by Jack Veazey in P2, Rick Wishon in P3, Phil Giles out on track P4, but P1 in the AMS, with Rob Barber just behind him in P2 and Joseph Lopez not behind them either, far behind them either. Lee Martin down in P7, P6 now just overtakes Joseph Lopez, as I could say that. So Joseph Lopez now swapping with Casper Roos. Casper Roos is P7, Joseph Lopez P8, Denan Bronze in P9, and John Johnson at P10. But they are all very, very close together there.
Yeah, Jack Veazey now going on the inside of Andrea. Can he get the move done? No, he backs out a little bit, but he has to force Andrea to go a little bit further wide on that corner, as Rick Wishon is properly in the mix now, and he'll be looking to make a move on Jack Veazey if he makes the slightest mistake. And yeah, it's right on the back of those two fighting up front. Like I said, would happen. Those two, if they are fighting, allows everyone else to kind of keep in place. But yeah, Andrea very quick currently out on track. But Jack Veazey's got the advantage of getting that slipstream behind him, so he's going to be able to make a move fairly easy if he is stuck behind. But we'll have to see how well Andrea defends. We saw him on that first lap taking the inside line, trying to go a bit defensive, and yeah, seems to be working well for him, but he goes a bit wide there. You can see how much he's pushing and how much speed he's carrying in these early laps. There you go, taking that inside line, keeping it defensive, and see how he gets on throughout the rest of the race. As yeah, Casper Rooster and Joseph Lopez, Denan Bronze getting a little bit of a gaggle going, getting a little bit of a fight going back here, and we'll see who gets the overall position out of that too. But now Jack Veazey getting his nose alongside of Andrea, but I think Andrea will have the advantage coming through these next couple corners, so we'll see how he gets on with that.
No, watching these two fighting at the front of the pack here is really, really, really interesting. Jim Andrea obviously going very defensive there. He takes the inside of the track into coming up into the corners. You got Jack sitting right behind him, but of course, like you said, that is allowing Rick Wishon right into the mix there. And may I add, Phil Giles not too far off of them either. So that'll be a gaggle of four coming up in probably just a moment's time. I think carries on the way that it is. It's really interesting to see Jack being held back. We know how strong Jack is. We know how much of a good driver he is, not taking anything away from anybody else. But seeing Jack being held back the way that he is, Jim, it's not a usual sight there.
No, I mean Andrea is he's a solid driver, but like you mentioned, Phil Giles as well. He's also very quick, and he's had some amazing performances, especially in these early races as well, where he's been up there fighting with the pros, if not holding back the pros in some of the races. So let's
Well,
see
I'll
how
tell
he
you what,
gets on with
Jimmy.
this fight.
I'll tell you what, Jimmy. Half a second off of the three pros in front of him, Phil Charles is getting himself right into the mix there. Just catches up a little bit more to Rick Wishon in front of him, and he's in the fight. just sitting just outside of it, in my opinion, at the moment. But while these guys are doing what they're doing in front of him, it is going to keep him in the mix indeed. There you go.
Yeah.
Phil Giles fastest lap there at 1:34.8, Jimmy. So he is lapping extremely quickly at the moment, keeping up with these guys in front.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of the qualifying times that everyone had, I know he's got the advantage of a bit of slipstream as well, but even still, I mean, they're lapping qualifying times in in the race already. So, no, it should be interesting to see what happens when they all start getting a bit more fighty. Because I mean, like we said, 2 race weekends left of the season. This is where points matter most, especially with how close it is. And Phil Giles has got nothing to gain but fun with getting in the mix here. So we'll have to see how he gets on with that. But yeah,
Yeah, I think when I was looking at the points earlier, I think Phil Saddle is a little bit outside of it now, and unless the guys in front of him all don't finish every race now, I don't think the championship's going his way. But it just shows like he's been improving week by week, Jimmy. And again, look at him now, P4 at the moment on track, keeping up with the 3 pros in front of him and not losing really any time to him at all. In fact, he's actually gaining. He was half a second on the last lap. He's now 3 tenths just under that now on this lap. So he's right in the mix there for it, Jim. But no, like you said, the points mean everything going into the end of this one. Sitting at the top of the pros at the minute is Lee Martin, Paul Brown, and Andrea. Jack Veazey just off of them. Any one of those four could take the championship next week for the pros, depending on how it finishes up over the next couple of races.
yeah, as BG gets you inside, but look at all the cars going off in the back as
I was
well.
just
They
going to
are
say,
pushing hard.
Joseph Lopez, Dinan Bronze, and Casper Ruud still tracking wide onto the grass there. But we've seen a few cars do that, Jimmy, now, just going a little bit wide there. Is that because they're taking it a little bit quick, or is that just because they're fighting? Like, what's pushing them all out wide there onto that extra bit of grass?
It's just a bit of an awkward corner, that one, because you think you can take it faster than you can, but there's not a lot of runoff or any curbing on the outside really. So if you do kind of go off, you're flat out essentially. You're full on the throttle as you exit that corner, and if you touch that grass, it just kind of pulls you more into the grass really. I mean, these guys are doing very well not to spin because when you're going quick onto getting 2 wheels on grass, 2 wheels on tarmac, it can cause a bit of a spin. So sometimes I think it's better to take all the grass, and then at least you're a bit more
No,
you
absolutely.
know what we're in for a bit more.
No, absolutely, Jimmy. But sorry, just looking at it here, Jack Vees and Andrea Maglite, they're right next to each other here.
Oh,
They've got Rick
trading a bit of
Wishon
paint
trying to
there.
take trading paint. They've got Rick trying to make it 3 wide. They've got Phil trying to make it 4 wide, and he gets himself up into P3 for now. Andrea and Jack all over the place at the front of the pack here. With oh dear, with Andrea tracking awfully wide there, allowing Jack Veazey into P1. Phil Giles jumps up to P1 overall for the Amso. P2 on track.
Oh, didn't leave quite enough room and just got himself spun a little bit. Oh,
Oh,
and
Rob Barber takes a little bit of a tap there as well on the back of him. Oh, that is unfortunate. We'll have another little look at that incident in just a moment's time there. But no, Jack Veazey now leading the way with Andrea just behind him, a second and a half in it now. That was some really great driving from the pair of them for the first 8 minutes there. So I'd really want to see Andrea get that time back on Jack so we can see some more. Andrea sitting in P2 with Rick Wishon now up into P3 and Lee Martin into P4. Really has made those jumps up to get himself with the rest of the pros. Rob Barber now leading the way in P5, P1 for the AMs with Joseph Lopez just behind him and Denan Bronze. Phil Giles in P8 with Casper Roos in P9 and John Johnson at the back of the pack in P10. Yeah, can we try and have a little look at that one again if we can, please, Mr. Cameraman?
all right,
Jimmy,
so let's
talk
see
us
what's
through
going
what's
on.
going on here because these two are all over the place.
Yes, let's take a look. So Andrea goes off, and then how well does he rejoin? I mean, the pack goes past him. He has space on track, so that's absolutely fine.
Plenty of space. It seems to rejoin pretty safely there.
But then he's got a lot of speed. He gets alongside. He's all right. He's plenty of left alongside in the corner, and then
So that's Phil Giles
oh,
just coming in on the front of him there. Now, is Phil coming too early on him there and not giving him the space?
yeah, I think
Or is Andrea up far enough? I couldn't really tell from that angle just there that we had. But that's unfortunate, that is. But no, Andrea back into P2, Jack
yeah,
Veazey in P1
if we
now.
can go
It's not filtered too much.
on board with one of them or get like a chase cam. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah,
I think he was alongside enough that yeah.
I think Phil's not giving the space there, which he should have done. I agree. I think he was definitely Andrea was up there enough next to him. And I think the space should have been left, and it wasn't there. The marshals will definitely have to have a look at that one there, Jimmy. But no, obviously it's not impacted it too much. Obviously that's given Jack the lead and Andrea's now in P2. So he'll be looking to catch that back up. 1.7 seconds now, Jack with nothing in front of him, no one to fight. You'd expect to see him track away a bit with this one now, like we have done in previous weeks.
Yeah, I think with 10 minutes left to go, like I think, like I said, I don't know. It has changed the order quite a bit because 1.8 seconds to Jack Veazey. Jack Veazey's not gonna he's not gonna attack or defend. He can just
No,
set good lap times now. So he's like he already set the fastest lap of the session after that one. So he's just out in clean air. I think the only way we'll get a new champion lead is if Rick and Andrea start working together and one of them starts pushing the other one down those straights. But it's going to be hard work to catch back up. So I think the fight is now between Rick and Andrea for second place. We'll have to keep an eye on that one. Phil Giles, though, we know he's definitely got a lot of pace if he's able to get his way that far up the field. So now he's got his work cut out for him to start making his moves on Dinand and Robert, though. But he has got a 3 second gap, so it's going to be very difficult to catch that up again as well.
just want to go back to back to that incident a moment ago, Jimmy. It started really at the start with Andrea and Jack a little bit crazy at the start of that lap there as they went round side by side. I didn't notice it during it as it happened, but on the replay I saw Andrea. He looked like he was about to turn into Jack, but then caught it just in time, which I think really. Oh, and Joseph Lopez taking a spin there. How has that happened?
Yeah,
We'll have a
and a bit
look
of
at
a
that
moment
one
with
in a.
Casper Roos. We'll take a look
Yeah,
at what happened with that one.
yeah, that was a pretty random one there. I didn't think anything was coming of that. So
So
yeah,
Casper
Joseph
Roos is
just in front.
behind.
Joseph
Joseph
just
Lopez
sitting
is
in front of him.
a beautiful view of the trees over it.
Lovely
So
tree.
Joseph
Well,
Lopez
we are in the
starts
middle of
turning
National Park.
in. Not really a lot of space for Casper. I think Casper just hit the back of him. I think that's
Yeah, Casper's
yeah.
coming around there a bit quicker than Joseph in front of him and just tapped the back of him and said Joseph round. A pair of them swap positions at the minute. So Casper up into P8, Joseph down into P9 at the moment. So P4 and P5 respectively in class there, Jim. But no, it just goes to show, doesn't it, Jimmy, what one small, tiny little incident, one little mishap, one little misjudgment, even out on track, how much it can change a race. Because look at it now, there's 2 seconds between Jack and Andrea. So I think you were right. I think the race is truly now between Andrea and Rick, and maybe even Lee as well for P2, P3, and P4.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, anything could happen. I mean, Jack very well could make a mistake. I don't know what the chances are for that one, but yeah, I think we'll just we'll follow on with Rick and Andrea because they're going to be the battle to watch. The same with Denan and Robert, although they are spread out a little bit. I think the only people really close together on track at the moment are Lee, Rick, and Andrea. Lee is keeping just about in the mix, but I think he's just a little bit too far off to start fighting properly. He's fallen out the slipstream. And yeah, just be down to Rick and Andrea. As Jack Veazey sets again the fastest lap of the session with a 1:34.5, with Andrea with a 1:34.7 behind him. Rick Wishon though 1:34.6, but they are still a tenth or two off of Jack Veazey's pace. So yeah, I don't think there's much catching up to do at the moment. As well to see what these guys do in the last few laps as they try to go for that second place position.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. The race at the minute, obviously, is between Rick and Andrea just in front of him. They are the only two which are quite close now. Everybody else has seemed to spread out a little bit, so they're going to be in their own little fights to make up that time between them. So hopefully we can see a little bit more. I say Rick was right on Andrea literally in his boot a moment ago as we came round there. But no, it is the race is now really between those. Look, Jack's 2.4 seconds gone away in the front now. It's like you said, Jimmy. I don't think we're going to see anything major from Jack happen now to impact his race. He's out there, it's clean air. He's not defending. He's not attacking anyone. He's absolutely fine out there at the front of the pack. The race really is between P2 and P3 at the moment. Like I said, everybody else has got seconds between them now. You look at P5 with like Rob Barber, P1 in the end. He's got nearly 3 seconds on Denand. There's another 3.5 seconds to Phil, 4.5 nearly to Casper, nearly 10 seconds then down to Joseph, who was obviously involved with that incident a moment ago with Casper Roos. And it seems to put him down in P9. It looks like he's going to stay there with John Johnson at the back in P10. But there really is a lot of time now between these guys, and we didn't have that until that incident, Jim.
Yeah, I mean that is the problem with an incident. Sometimes it can really spread out the field, like you said, and yeah, it's tough. But then if you can stick with someone else, it does kind of make it a bit more interesting to watch the the battle becomes more intense if you're kind of now it's just the two of you rather than four of you fighting. But yeah, they put on a really good show for us at the beginning. It's such a shame that they did have that mistake.
No, absolutely, absolutely, and we'll just have to see how it all finishes out there, Jimmy. But as as everyone's spaced out a little bit, shall we jump on board with someone in the last couple of in the last few minutes here? Should we do a lap with someone?
Yeah, we could do a little jump on board with Jack and just see kind of what the guys are dealing with this race weekend. Or do an on board so you can see, yeah, from their perspective on the kind of track that we have got this evening.
Yeah, well, we'll pick him up when he comes round at the start of the next lap there for you, Jim. But no, someone I do like seeing because it really does let us guys at home, let the guys at home know, and us who don't do stuff like this, really how it looks for these guys and how hard it is for them because it's not just like, do you remember just going, just sitting down in the arcades, Jimmy, down back in the day, down the beachfront, and doing a little bit of racing on there, and it was awful. Well, this is, in my opinion, this is really hard. So no, fair play to everyone out there. So we'll jump on board with him in just a moment's time and see
Yep, so
how he
as he's
gets on.
crossing the line now. All right, so this is the laps we've got on the start finish straight going down here. Then we've got this big downhill, heavy braking zone. Avoid the curb a little bit on the inside of the settles the car, and this big swooping right hander. And then you can see the elevation really well in this coming corner up here. As you can see, back on the accelerator, full power, hit the curb to keep that power going. And then you can see all you can see is sky, and then we're back onto a tiny little straight here. So it's a good spot for getting an overtake done, as you can get a lot of slipstream going down here. Another heavy braking zone, really wide left hander before you get back on the power as soon as you can. Back on the power now, using that curb on the right hand side to track out wide if you need to, and then straight line it and move over to the left to carry that power through. Then this set of corners is one of my most favourite in racing. Heavy braking zone, downhill, nice little chicane, banging right over the curb, bang again over the next curb, and then on for a third one. Get on the power as soon as you can, track out wide to utilise all the track and keep as much minimum speed as possible. And then we've got nice little kind of chicaney kind of corner here. Now again on the curves again, very similar but going uphill this time, but a bit wider into the back straight. Then we got this kind of even bigger version of that same set of corners again on the curve again, uphill into blind apex here. Try and track wide as much as you dare. Keep on the throttle as heavy as you can into a very wide right hander, braking and turning, keeping the car settled and collected. And then a little bit on the throttle here, maybe a little bit lift off, back on the throttle once again, track wide. This is where everyone's going onto the grass earlier. Sorry, losing my voice a little bit as we're back onto that start finish straight. So it's kind of like you start with like a small chicane and then it kind of gets bigger and bigger as you get through the track. And yeah, it's so much fun just kind of hitting those curves, carrying so much speed around here. It's very short little track, but it is very fun.
No, Jimmy, and I can get that from the way you described that track around there, just that on board with Javizi a moment ago. You really can like feel the excitement coming from your voice there of how much of a great fun track this is to race, and it really is interesting to see that on board as well. And it really does go to show exactly what I was saying earlier: the elevation changes, the blind crests, those technical corners, and may I say, bang on the curb was one of my favourite things I think I've ever heard you say there. Bang on the curb again, bang on the curb. But no, it really does show how much these guys have got to do. It is a short track. It's 2.3 miles long. It's only it's only 17 corners. It's a lot in comparison to some others, but it's not an overall huge lap, Jimmy, at 2.3 miles long, just over 3.8k. There's a lot to do for these guys. A lot going on for them, and I think you covered it absolutely beautiful there, even with your little voice change at the end for us. I absolutely love that one.
I
You
was
were
trying
giving
to I was trying to keep talking as much as I could without my voice going. But
no, it's absolutely fine, Jimmy. But no, that it just goes to show. Like I said, that's the excitement that these kind of races give you when you're out there driving them. And I'm sure Rick and Andrea in P3 and P2 at the moment are experiencing something like that, but maybe a little bit more frustrating as Andrea just can't seem to shake Rick off of the back of him at the moment.
yeah, and we're on to the final lap of the race now, as well as they get onto those first few corners here. And yeah, it's very fast, and yeah, it's gonna be difficult here with Rick because he's gonna need to get that move done very soon, and he needs to keep within that sort of point two. But it's when do you make the move? I mean, we saw Andrea is very good at defending, so we'll have to see how he kind of decides to make the move done. And yeah, we'll have to see what he does because he's getting very close behind him. He's now within a tenth. Goes for the move on the inside as Andrea still gets ahead. He manages to keep that speed as Rick backs out a little bit, going down that nice little downhill chicane. Jack Veazey though leading the way 4.3 seconds, and I think that's the power of being quick, but also shows you how much of a gap can build when you start fighting with another car. And yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal first race of the evening from Jack Veazey here, as I think there's only a few corners left really, so I think he's got it in the bag, and yeah,
Yeah,
about
can't really see anything happening with him now, Jimmy. I think we're going to sit on board with him now as he does round the last couple of corners there to finish off his first race of the evening in P1. Great drive from him there, Jimmy, like you said. So that battle's still going on in P2, P3 between Andrea and Rick. So we'll cut straight to that as soon as Jack crosses that line for you
yep,
there.
and he crossed the line now as a that was a very very aggressive and dramatic move behind,
That
but
was
no, I think
I think that's costume time, if anything else, because he went so far out there. Did Rick on Andrea? That I think he might have lost about a tenth there with that quite aggressive turn. But no, there you go. Rob Barber crossing the line as well. P1 in the AMs there, and Denan Bronze just behind him, and Phil Giles rounding out the podium spots there for the AMs. We will confirm all of these finishing positions for you in just a moment's time. But we've got Joseph Lopez just rounding out his lap, and John Johnson still to come round as well. But absolutely brilliant first race there, Jimmy. Right up until that incident, which I won't lie, it kind of killed it off just a little bit for those last few moments of the race. But what a really brilliant start to this evening we've had.
yeah, I mean, the fact that it goes to show you how much people can keep together on a track like this. So I think when we do in 5 minutes time, we start our 25-minute reverse grid order race. I think that'll be, yeah, I'm fascinated to see how they get racing there, and whether Andrea will be able to hold off Jack as he will be starting ahead of him. So that is the finishing order on your screens now. But starting from first to last in the next race, we'll have John Johnston on pole position, followed by Joseph Lopez, Casper Roost, Phil Giles, Dinan Bronze, Robert Barber, Lee Martin, Rick Wishon, Andrea Magley, and then Jack Veazey will be last place. So, yeah, I mean, quick 5 minute break for the drivers here where they can do whatever they want, whether they want to take a little bathroom break, grab a drink, or get some extra practice laps in. But yeah, working your way through the field is a much different beast to starting from the front. And yeah, this is always my favorite race of the evenings because it shows a different side to how the drivers have to race. And again, with Andrea starting ahead of Jack, we saw he defended well, but can he keep the defense going for this next race as well? We'll have to take a look in about 4 minutes' time.
Yeah, we'll have to see what Jack can do there. Obviously, last to first, we know it's something he's capable of. We've seen him do it a couple of times now. Is he going to do it again? But Andrea, Rick, and Lee all looking really quick. They've got those AMs sitting in front of them. What's what is going to happen, Jimmy? I just don't know because there's a lot of quick drivers out there, and if they're as close as they were in the first part of that race for the second race, then hopefully there's going to be a little bit more action for us there all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine they'd probably learn from the. Oh, you can see Rob Barber there doing some practice starts there on your screen at the moment. Clearly looking to get his yeah, to do well in that second race if he's getting those practice starts done. I think that's one of the most important things you can do when preparing for a race. Get the starts like good, and then get the pit stops good as well. We don't have pit stops in this season, but it is one of the most important things I'd have to say.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it, Jimmy? Just going back to the starts there, and I know Jack just did win that previous race, but he didn't have a great start. Andrea did, and it allowed Andrea to lead that race for about I think it was about 9 minutes. He kept Jack behind him until Jack did eventually get ahead of him, and that was obviously there was an incident involved there as well. But no, they were fighting well and truly before that. But no, it just goes to show how much of a good start, how much it can help you. Andrea took off immediately, got himself into P1, and sat there for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think without the incident, we might have seen an Andrea win there, but I mean, ifs and buts and all that.
Ifs and buts and maybes, and what will be, I suppose, isn't it? So we'll never know what would have happened if that incident didn't happen. That's something that's happening in the multiverse somewhere right now. But no, Jimmy, just to remind everybody before we get into that second race of the evening, for the Fast 8 Championship, our next season, 21st of June. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on some of them tracks? Because I listed them out a little bit earlier. They are absolutely brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, Daytona always makes phenomenal racing. It's one of the biggest draft tracks going around. It's got about, I mean, it's got more than it, but there's essentially 5 corners in that track. So huge laps, very few corners, and yeah, it's just phenomenal. Monza, very much the same, lots of draft. Indianapolis is a slightly similar situation, but the middle sector being a bit more of a complication. Navarra, though, that is the one I'm really looking forward to. 3 corners on the track, and one of them's a little bit tricky, but it's such a wide track. I think you're going to see some incredible racing with that one. Hockenheim, absolute classic. Road America, one of my personal favorites. I think it just works with every single car series out there. Seeing that one as an endurance race, that does make me happy. Watkins Glen, I know that's a personal favorite of a lot of people out there. And then we got Thruxton to finish off my local track. And yeah, I
No,
mean,
we've been Frux, and we know how much of a good track it is, and that's a great one to finish it off as. But Jimmy, I'm looking forward to Navarra, and I'm looking forward to Road America, the endurance races. I do love an endurance race. I really do, because it just puts a little bit more on these guys. Okay, it's not a short race. There's a lot more time here. I've got a lot of more time to do stuff with, but then there's also a lot more time for me to not necessarily have a great race. I really do like the endurance races, and we have got 2 of them next season. I am stoked. Remember, guys, 21st of June. That's going to be starting. Get at those links in the description, comments being posted for you right now by our very own Mr. Marshall himself. Not you, Jimmy. Our Marshall. But no, we got 5 minutes just up now, Jimmy. So these guys will be lining up in just a moment's time. Andrea's out there getting a couple of laps in by the look of it. I'm assuming that there's a little explosion there at the end. Did you see that?
oh no, I missed that.
As his car, assuming he put it into the pit there was like a little explosion, like a little firework. Never seen
Uh,
that before.
Right, so we got yep, so everyone is lining up now on grid, and oh, I see what you mean now. Yeah, I just went
Yeah,
back and had a little look. Yep, so everyone's lining up on grid, ready for that second race of the season. John
there you
Johnson
go.
leading the way. We'll have to see how well he gets on. Let's see how good Robert Barber's starts are, as we saw him to get some nice practice starts in. And yeah, can Jack Veazey get a better start ahead of Andrea? We'll have to take a look. Rick Wishon as well, starting ahead of Andrea. And I know he finished just behind him on that previous one. They got similar pace, so I'm expecting some good fighting from the pros at the back there, and yeah, I'm expecting similar from the guys up front as well. So we'll have to see once everyone's lined up on the grid how they're
There
going to
you
get on.
go. I think we're just waiting on one car there, though. But yeah,
Uh,
Jimmy, starting lineup.
yeah.
John Johnson, Joseph Lopez, Casper Roos, Phil Giles, Nan Bronze, Rob Barber, Lee Martin, Rick Wishon, Andrea Maguire, and Jack Beasy. There we go. So we've just ran on. Ricky's joined us. Jimmy, take us away.
Yep, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and then immediately we are away. Very similar starts from everyone there. Joseph Lopez getting a pretty decent start behind as he tries to cover off the inside and gives Casper Roost a little bit of a squeeze. And yeah, Jack Veazey though starting a bit further back. We've seen that from him from previous races. Waits for any potential chaos to fall away, and then he starts making his way up through the field as Casper Roost there and Phil Giles going 2 by 2. Robert Barber, though, getting in the mix, getting the overtake done on Casper Ruus. Casper Ruus losing a few positions early on. Let's see how he gets on. Denan takes it 3 wide into that first few corners there. Let's see how he. There you go. Robert Barber backing out a little bit. Casper Ruus staying ahead. Lee Martin, though, was able to get alongside Robert Barber. Off they go. John Johnson still leading the race right off the start.
There we go. No, Jimmy, but John Johnson still leading the way as we are about a minute into this race so far. 24 minutes left to go. Joseph Lopez just behind him. Phil Johnson, Ambrose, and Rob Barber, followed by Casper Roos, who's just made the move on Rob Barber. So, no, it's an interesting start to his second race. Those pros haven't made their way through. Obviously, Lee Martin leading the way from, like you said, Rick Wishon, Andrea, and Jack still sat at the back of the pack there. They haven't quite made their way through. Lee Martin just scraping away to start with, but Casper gains his position back immediately. Pros haven't took off quite as quickly as I thought they would, Jimmy, as much as they usually do in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing. They're still hovering just a bit further back as Andrea drops just behind Jack Veazey there. But no, they've not really worked their way up through the field. But I mean, obviously, 25 minutes to go. That's plenty of time, and I think they can start. I mean, but it is difficult though. I mean, like we talked about on those first few corners, you had Casper, Danan, Robert, Phil, all taking it 3, 2, 3 wide through a lot of those corners. If you're behind that, where do you go? You don't really want to be taking it 4 wide because that's how you
Well,
end in disaster.
I tell you what, I just thought we was about to see Phil Giles and Rob Barber go too wide into that previous corner, and we nearly did, Jimmy. But Rob Barber got the move done just as they came up to it, putting himself up there over him into P3, the final podium spot for the AMs up there. Going up now into P2, taking a spot from John Johnson, who's dropped down to P3 now. But no, what's going on with these pros? Are they a little bit worried about the AMs in front of them? I know they're all pretty much taking Casper Roos there, but Casper has just had a little incident out there. We'll have a look at that in just a moment's time. But are they a little scared of these AMs in front of them, Jimmy? Oh, Rob
Well,
Barber coming together there.
oh, I think Rob didn't
Oh,
pause
there's
his
been
brakes properly. That is a
no.
big accident.
There's been a
And
huge smash there. Lee Martin involved, Rob Barber involved, and I think that was John Johnson as well in the black Toyota there involved in the middle. What has happened? So Rob at the front, John's just behind him. Is that Phil Giles just behind them?
oh, it just takes too much speed through, lifts off the brake. He should have stayed on the brakes there. I think that's yeah, not the best from John Johnson. Like, still accelerating into Robert.
Oh, and he just takes that what another two to three cars there with him. Oh, so what you're saying, Rob should have sat on the brakes a bit more, do you think? Because it looked like he
No,
was on the brakes, but
no, I think John and yeah, John came off the brakes there. I think trying to sort of push his way,
well, there
trying
you
to
go.
push his way past a little bit, but yeah,
Well,
not ideal for the cars involved. And yeah,
no, and the other car that was involved there was Jack Veazey as well, Jim. So picking up the meat will flag himself and Lee Martin. So them two have had to go to the pits now to get that sorted out. Is Jack Veazey going to be able to do anything in just over 20 minutes left of this race?
I don't know. It's going to be difficult because that is big points lost if he's not able to start fighting with those pros again. But then with Lee Martin a bit further down, it's just between Andrea and Rick now. And with the timing boards, well, the results boards, Lee Martin being the overall points leader, but 20 points roughly behind is Andrea. Paul Brown unable to make it this weekend, so yeah, this could be a very big weekend for Andrea if he can. I mean,
It
he's
really
only
could
really
as
got to worry
well.
about Rick, and if he keeps his position as he does now, that will put
Well,
him in the overall leader for the points.
Well, I think a poor finish and poor points performance from Jack Veazey as well. I think that takes him out of the picture. I think he's sitting about fourth at the minute. A good win tonight would have probably kept him in that mix. I think that's going to take him out of the championship running for the end of that season next week, Jimmy, as well. So it is really going to go down to the last. Oh, there's a black flag there from Lee Martin. Has he fed on the way out of them pits there? I would assume he has done there, Jim. And Jack's out of the race now. Confirmation on the screen there for you guys at home and for us here, Jimmy. Jack Veazey out of the race.
Yeah, Jack V's out the race. Lee Martin essentially in the same position as he's going to come in and have to serve that penalty, and that's going to drop him back another 30 odd seconds or so. Yeah, so we'll have to take a look at why he got that penalty, but I think you're right with it being a yeah speeding
Yeah,
out of the
it's
pit
been
lane. It's
confirmed.
got confirmation. Oh,
Yeah.
that's really unfortunate for those guys down at the back. But
So just
yeah.
Jimmy, just real quick, just remind everyone we don't get a lot of black flags here in the 86s. What does the black flag mean for him for Lee Martin?
So they can mean a couple different things, but in this situation, it basically means he's got a drive-through penalty. So for speeding in the pit lane, it's unsafe for those working in the pit lane. It is it's a simulator after all, and you gotta simulate the those kind of situations. And yeah, it basically means he was unsafe in an area where he needed to be safe, and he's got a drive-through penalty. So when he comes up to finish his next lap, he'll basically have to drive through the pit lane at pit speed, and then he can get back to racing. But that does mean you lose kind of about 20 to 30 seconds, depending on the track, um, overall. Going over to the YouTube comments. Good evening to you too as well, Jimmer. How you doing out there?
Jimmer GT, absolutely love that one. Jimmy, I might start calling you Jimmer. I like that one.
And it's the various other.
Oh, viewers, I'm not going to go through it now because we have not got enough time left for this race. But there is about 100 different names that Jimmy can be called by myself on any given day. It usually depends how my day's been. So use your imagination, viewers. Use your imagination. Have a good evening, Jimmer. Good evening, y'all. Good evening, Marshmallow. Good to see you along with us. But Jimmy, we are just under 7 minutes of this race down. You know what I'm going to ask you to do. So for this week, I would like your pro driver of the day, and that can include anyone from either of the races. Jim, I know obviously we've lost Jack Veazey, and essentially we're going to lose Lee Martin even if he does stay out on track with us and he doesn't get himself back up there towards the winning spots. But I want your pro driver of the day, my man, if that's all right with you. Just
Yep,
we'll get in about
absolutely.
20 minutes. With about 5 minutes left to go, I'll check back in with you on that one. And I, of course, will be bringing you your AM driver of the day. Guys at home, if you've watched along with us all evening, who has been your driver of the day for tonight? And let us know why as well. It's always interesting to see why people give the driver of the day out. Me and Jimmy always let you guys know why we do it. So if you guys want to give us the input, let us know your reasoning for it as well. But no, we are 7.5 minutes in at the moment, and still plenty of time left, Jim. Going to look on board with Rick Wishon as he's got a little bit of time to make up to Casper in front of him, but sitting
Oh, look at that bumper
P6
on
out.
that car, though. Look at the bumper on that car. No wonder he went a little bit wide. I think the yeah, a bit of damage going on there as he's starting to
Yeah,
fall through those positions a little bit. I think it might be time for him to come in and, like we said, we do have fast repairs in this season and just get that
well,
car fixed.
well, I tell you, it's going to be one of them for Rick, isn't it? Really, because if P7 out on track, he's losing positions. Obviously, that bumper's not doing him any favors. P2 still in the pros, Jim. Pitting though, is that going to put him into a bit of a bad mix with Lee Martin? And could Lee Martin then end up higher up on the podium than he's probably going to be with Jack out? He's guaranteed at least a P3.
No, Rick will still come out ahead of because in this season you have what's called a fast repair. So when you go into the pit lane, you can fix your car instantly. It does not affect tires and it does not affect fuel. I mean, both of which shouldn't be an issue for this race. But yeah, basically just means you just drive into the pits, car's instantly fixed, and you can get back out there racing to try and keep everyone all together. But with yeah, with the fact that Lee Martin has had to do that second pit because he got black flagged, it does mean that Rick Wishon is able to. Why is he? Is he had to go to
So,
serve a penalty? I thought it was a drive-through penalty. I didn't realize it was stop and go. Um,
no, he did. Marshall has
oh, he got a
confirmed that
stop and
Jimmy
go.
it was the stop and go that he got there. So that really has put him out of this race. But he's still going to take P3 on the spots today for pro class.
Well, it's even more reason for Rick there to just dip into the pit lane, fix the car, and then get back out there. He's not going to lose any time really to anyone. He's only got John Johnson. Well, he hasn't even got John Johnson behind him at this point now. So
No, he's losing a
the
lot of time. He's losing a lot of positions. Just get yourself in, get yourself out. Lee is a lap down. You've got more than enough time. It's a fast repair, as Jimmy just told us all. Get in, get out, and just get your podium spot. Get P2 and get your points for the evening done.
yeah. Andrea though having a phenomenal race, managed to avoid all that collision at the start that we saw, and yeah, he
Sorry,
set the
Jimmy, just to
fastest lap.
interrupt you. Just to interrupt, Rick has now gone into the pits, Jimmy. Sorry, just to
Ah, there we
confirm
go.
that for everybody. So he has dipped himself in there, so should should be in and out fairly quickly, but sitting P2 still. Sorry to interrupt you there. Please do continue.
There you go. You could see the car being instantly fixed there on your screen as the sort of bumper jumped immediately back on. But no, Andrea out there setting the fastest lap of the race with the 34.7, so he's absolutely flying out there. Rick Wishon though still sat in the pit lane. So I don't. Maybe he forgot to put on the fast repair.
Maybe he forgot to turn off his fuel or something potentially.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that one to see if he does come back out. But
That's
yeah,
not that's not helping him a lot at the minute though, because that is allowing Lee to catch up even more now. He's gained the lap on him now, so he's under a lap behind Rick now. So Rick needs to get himself out there. There you go. We just saw Lee Martin come round and come past the end of the pits there. So what is going on with Rick Wishon here?
I think he's forgotten the fast repair, and I think he's having to wait for the car to get fixed. That could give Lee Martin the potential second place of the race, as Andrea is getting very close behind Joseph Lopez, the car in first. You can see him now working his way. That was a beautiful swap of the camera angles over there as they were driving by. But
Phenomenal
yeah,
swap.
yeah, Andrea though, I mean, Andrea's definitely got first place in the pros all sorted, but he gets to have a nice little battle with Joseph now for first place of the AMs. Both of them having a great race out there at the moment. Such a huge gap to the next cars behind.
No, absolutely, Jimmy. We've got a race at the front of the pack, and we're soon to possibly have a race at the back of the pack as well. Lee Martin chundering around there, trying to get himself up above Rick Wishon still, with Rick still sitting in the pits. So we'll see what happens there. But Andrea making phenomenal time at the moment. There he goes. He gets past Joseph Lopez, doesn't give him much trouble there, just moves out of his way. Andrea now P1 overall, P1 in the pros still, with Joseph Lopez dropping down to P2, but still P1 at the moment, with Phil Giles in a P2, about 2.2 seconds off him, with Danan just behind him in P3 for the AMs there, Jimmy.
Yep,
But
and sorry, just quickly on board here. So Rick Wishon didn't use the fast repair, and he was
so
repairing his car over
sorry,
time
Jimmy, but
as
is Lee going to be
Lee
able to take
Martin.
Rick? Is Lee going to be able to take Rick as he comes around? And yes, he does. So that extra long pit has really, really impacted Rick there, Jim.
Yeah, oh, that's so unfortunate. That's so unfortunate. Oh, you've got to check your pit settings as you go in. Oh, that's scuppered him a little bit, but I mean the fight might be on now. I mean if he's able to catch, I mean like you can see time gaining a little bit on Lee Martin there. So I know we'll
Yeah,
have to
but
take a look at that one as the race progresses. But as Dinan Brondas is starting to catch up to Phil Giles and potentially look at making a move at some point soon. Andrea though already a second past Joseph Lopez in the second place. This is definitely Andrea's race this evening.
oh, he's absolutely flying, Jimmy, absolutely flying. But no, just going back to the Lee Martin, Rick Wishon thing there. I think the problem is for Rick in that one, that first corner coming off of that straight is so fast anyway. Like Lee didn't really have to drop much speed there before he hit the second corner. So it just gives you that advantage to fly around. If it was one of those, if it was like a, oh, what the word I'm trying to look for, Jimmy? My mind has gone completely with this one. If it's sorry, a hairpin corner, if it's something like that, which really slowed down Lee Martin coming around there off of that straight, then I think Rick might have had a chance to get out ahead of him coming out the pits. But carrying so much speed as Lee was coming around that first corner, I think Rick was well out of the picture there. So no, you've really got to hammer it home there, Jimmy, when you say you've got to check your pit settings. I think that fast repair might not have been switched on there for Rick, and that has cost him now his position out on track. Who'd have thought that there'd be such interest going on in P8 and P9, Jimmy, tonight?
Yeah, it's not really the positions that you look at when you're looking at a race, but this is where the drama is at the moment. You say it's P8 and P9, but for the pros, that is
It's P2 and
P2 that they're
P3.
fighting for.
No,
And
it's exactly the point I was going to make. And look, Rick's half a second, just over half a second on Lee now. Yeah, but look, they're a lap down on every other car sitting out in front of them. Obviously, with Jack Veazey out of the race as well. So it's P2 and P3, like you just said. That's a lot of points to play for, even though they're in P8 and P9. And you know what? I think in this very unique situation, I think they'll be very glad of not having any other cars around them, because it will just allow these two to get on with it and try and do the best that they can.
It's just coming to my mind. That's a bit mad. With the pit stop that Rick had and the
Yeah.
extra pit stop that Lee Martin had, if Jack Veazey didn't quit the race, he could well be in for P2 right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think that's something Jack's gonna have to look at when he does look back at the race later on this evening, or whenever he gets around to it. That and Jimmy, we say it every week usually about one driver or another. It just pays off sometimes just to get you laps in, just stay out there on track. If nothing else, use it for a practice. But I think Jack's missed out on an opportunity here to get himself some more points and stay in that championship race.
Yeah, he's going to have his work cut out for him next weekend. I can guarantee that yeah, it'll be our final weekend of this season. Don't forget again to sign up for the new season with the link in the YouTube description, and it was on screen previously. But speaking of Lee, that was a terrible transition, but I'm gonna roll with it. Rick Wishon getting very close behind him, getting in 3/10 now. So clearly he did manage to get most, if not all, of that damage fixed. Segways aren't particularly my strong suit, but I gave it a go.
That is absolutely fine, my man. That is absolutely fine. I love that transition there, Jimmy. I think our guy in the background, our cameraman here, he's laughing as way quite hard as well to himself there, Jim. So please do keep them coming. But no, we still got a bit of a fight at the back here, half a second deep between Rick Wishon and Lee Martin. P8 and P9 on track, but P2 and P3 in class, still all to play for these guys back here. Everybody else has gapped himself out a little bit, quite a bit of a gap there between Casper Roos and Denan Bronze, and between John Johnson and then these guys, Lee Martin and Rick Wishon. There's so much time there, but no, the fight really is at the back of the pack here at the minute between P2 and P3. Joseph Lopez still leading the way in the AMs. Andreas still leading the way in the pros. Phil Giles in a P2 for the AMs with Denan Bronze just behind him. Casper is sitting there as well with Rob Barber, John Johnson, and of course Lee Martin and Rick Wishon leading at the at the back of the pack, having their little fight for now. But
Yeah,
no,
I gotta
Jimmy, a
say
few
that.
minutes away as well from driver of the day. So make sure you get that locked in for me before the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, I've got one in my head already, but we'll wait those few minutes just in case something amazing does happen. But I gotta say, Joseph Lopez, Phil Giles, Denan Bronze, I think they're struggling a little bit. Phil Giles is doing a little bit better, but they are setting very, very similar lap times out on track at the moment. It's gonna be they got their work cut out for them if they want to catch up and start fighting together. There's a bit of a bigger gap to Casper Roost, but then Robert Barber not too far behind. He might be able to get in the mix and start fighting with Casper, have a bit of a race on their hands. But look at how close those times are. Phil Giles about a tenth quicker a lap, but Denan Bronze is kind of roughly the same as Joseph Lopez there. And yeah, I think they're going to struggle to, as he falls back a little bit on pace, Denan Bronze does. So I think as Phil Giles can stay quick and consistent, it might be able to get him towards the end, but I think it's going to be very, very difficult. But yeah, Joseph Lopez though putting in a solid performance here this evening, and yeah, I mean to keep first place as well. I mean, yes, Phil Giles has got a little bit more pace on him, but Joseph Lopez has got that big gap. He's keeping it safe. He's keeping it consistent. He's putting in great lap times constantly, and yeah, I mean he'll have Phil in his mirrors as you can see just a bit behind him with Denan Bronze there still in view, and if anything was to go wrong, it could be Denan's race. But Joseph Lopez, though, I mean, yeah, he's doing very well out there on track. Andrea Maglite as well. He is having a phenomenal race weekend. As Robert Barber now catching up to the back of Casper Roos. We'll have to see how he's going to get on here. Gets in that slipstream, gets very close up behind him. He's going to be one to look to make that move some point in the next couple laps because there's only 6 minutes left to go. Minute and a half a lap. That's not many laps left to run. So we'll have to see what he does with that one. Casper Roost likes a good scrap. So, I mean, so does Robert Barber. Robert Barber seems to be constantly getting into good battles with people. So we'll see how they get on. Rick Wishon, though, as he closes in behind Lee Martin.
I was just going to say, with less than 30 seconds left, Jimmy, Rick Wishon is right on the back of Lee Martin here. Could we see a late change from the pair of these two here?
Well, we've got 5 minutes and 30 seconds left. It's slightly longer second race of the weekend. Don't forget.
This isn't the first race. Oh, what an error. I do apologize. Rookie mistake there. Rookie mistake from myself. But I tell you what, as it is a 20-minute mark, Jimmy, do you want to let everybody know who your pro driver of the day is today for us?
Absolutely, and I think for his performance in that first race, showing incredible defensive skills, showing some very, very fast pace, and again on this this second race around, fastest lap at the of this race, and it's just shown great performance all weekend. It's gonna be Andrea Magli. I mean, it can't not be at the yeah, and yeah, he's just like I said, he was just beautiful defensive skills, keeping Jack Beasley behind him for that first race as much as he could. And then after there was that little bit of an incident and he fell a bit further behind, he was able to keep Rick Wishon just behind him as well. So beautiful defensive, keeping it clean as he could, and yeah, I'd say great performance all round. What say you? Who's your AM driver of the day, Gaz? Falling a little bit silent there, so we'll catch up with him in a moment.
No, there you go. Sorry, I do apologise about that. I just had a little bit of a technical error. I might have accidentally unplugged something with my foot by accident. But no, Jimmy, just wanted to say, completely agreed with you on the pro choice there. Andrea absolutely deserves it. He's had a brilliant drive today. He's always fantastic to watch out on track. Great guy to speak to as well. So you never know, we might be speaking to him at the end of this race. But no, guys, as well, let us know as well in the chat who has been your driver of the day. But for me, Jimmy, in the AMs, I'm going to give it to Mr. Joseph Lopez, sitting out in a P2, P1 in class at the moment. Look, he's had a brilliant evening this evening. He's given some great viewing as well. All the fighting he was doing in the first race, he was leading this race for quite a while as well before Andrea came upon him, and he's still leading the way at the moment. Phil Giles obviously just under that second now, well, just under that half second, sorry, to him. So we'll have to see how it finishes up there. A little bit of a fight going on now with them two for the last few moments of this race. But for me, it's got to be Joseph Lopez. He's had a brilliant race this evening, and he's given us some absolute great viewing.
Oh, very little room there for Casper Roos as he pixel perfect going over there without like hitting Robert Barber there, as they are scrapping a bit further behind. Phil Giles, though, I gotta say, honorary mention to him, because he has had a pretty great weekend as
Yeah,
well, as
he's
he
been
closes
involved
in
in it
on.
all, hasn't he?
He has been involved, and that's one thing you got to say about Phil this season. He does get involved, whether it's been good or bad. Not his fault. It he's
Yeah.
definitely getting involved.
No, absolutely, and it'd be interesting to see how it finishes out here. Less than half a second at the moment between him and Joseph Lopez. We've still got a little bit of time, but now just over a second between Lee Martin and Rick Wishon. There's just over half a second between Casper Roos and Rob Barber. They're fighting out in the middle of the track.
As
So
yeah, Joseph Lopez keeping that inside line, tracks out wide, but then not giving the inside line for the next corner.
there you
Those
go. Hopefully,
inside
there's not a
lines are
coming
so
together.
crucial on a
No,
track, especially like this, just for
no,
getting
they
that
really
extra
are.
defensive.
No, they really are. And we saw the importance of it earlier when they were throwing themselves all over the place to keep that inside defensive line, just maintain that position. I think that's what's kept Joseph up there for as long as it has been now as well. Because driving again has been absolutely brilliant tonight. But Phil is not leaving him alone. Could we see a last lap change between these two guys here and get a new P1?
Yeah, we've got about 2 laps left to go, so if you want to get the move done, now is the time, because it seems to be very, not necessarily very, but it seems to be a bit easier to defend than it does to attack on a track like this. And yeah, when it's a bit more kind of high speed and flowing, you don't really want to be taking the outside line, because it's just that little bit too much extra track to drive, and it does keep you a bit further behind. So we'll have to see how Phil decides to get on here. With Robert Barber, though, has got a decent gap now between him and Casper, and is working his way up through the field. Sadly, I don't think the podium is quite on him. Well, on for him, being 15 seconds now behind Dinand. But
Yeah.
Andrea, though, what a race he's had so far.
Well, an absolute, completely agree with you, Jimmy. And I think that's why I give it more credence to your picking him for driver of the day. He's had an absolutely solid race today, Jimmy. Just to let everybody know as well, we are on the lap now, by the way. So we'll stick with Andrea just as he's, well, going to be crossing the line in P1. But no, fantastic drive from him this evening, Jimmy, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And but the action is still out there, with Rick Wishart and Lee Martin still battling for that second place of the pros, with and Phil Giles and Joseph Lopez fighting for that first place of the AMs now. And yeah, big points on the line for this last lap. So remember, you've got to keep it clean, but you've also got to get the moves done. With only essentially 2 more races left in this season, with the double race weekends that we have, one more weekend left. There's not a lot of opportunities left to win the championship, but this will be huge for Andrea getting first place now, with Jack Veazey falling behind. And we'll have to see. Lee Martin is staying ahead of Rick Wishon. That's going to be good points for him as well, getting second place, as Andrea goes through that final corner of the race to get P1 overall. Great job from him this weekend. I mean,
Yeah,
round of applause
congratulations,
at
Andrea.
home.
There, sorry, but Phil Giles has just taken Joseph Lopez as they come around that last corner there, Jimmy. It looks like Joseph has gone wide, which has allowed Phil Giles up into P1 now to finish that race off. P1 in the arms with Joseph Lopez in P2. That is really unfortunate for him, but Dinan Bronze crossing the line in P3 there. what has happened at the end of that race there. We'll try and have a little look at that after everybody's crossed the line. Or I'll tell you what, we'll have a quick look at that one now. But Phil Giles making the move on the inside of Joseph Lopez in front of him. Does he give him enough room? No, he does not. But I don't think Phil's up the side of him enough there, Jim.
No, Phil was plenty along inside. That was yeah, I think Phil was in the right there to go for that move. Joseph Lopez though, just I think he just squeezed him a little bit too much, and it ended up bad for him. But P1 for Phil, P2 for Joseph. I mean, obviously the stewards will have to take a look at that one, and but no, currently as it stands, Andrea first, followed by Phil, Joseph, Denand, Robert, Casper, then John Johnson crossing the line now. And they'll cut over to Lee Martin and Rick Wishon fighting a bit further behind. Lee Martin taking second place in the pros, but being a lap down, which is absolutely crazy, followed by Rick Wishon behind him. And then Jack Veazey is in last place for this one as he left the race due to the big crash we had at the start. But I mean, absolutely
Wow.
mental to be a lap
What
down but getting second place. I mean,
What a lap dance to get second place. Absolute craziness in the AMs there on the last corner for a position change and a P1 change. But there you go, Jimmy. Let everybody at home know how it has finished.
will do, but I just want to reiterate that this is why I love the second race of the evening because it's just craziness and I love it. But yeah, finishing in first place overall and first place in the pros, we have Andrea Magli, followed by Phil Giles being first place in the AMS with second place overall. Then we have Joseph Lopez, Dinan Bronze, Robert Barber, Casper Roost, John Johnston, Lee Martin, Rick Wishon, and Jack Veazey is your 10 drivers this evening.
There you go. Fantastic, fantastic racing all around there this evening, Jimmy. And look, we're going to speak to a couple of these guys in just a moment's time. But another great race here in the Tanzo Racing Group, sponsored by Valhalla Liveries and us here at Trackside. Look, Jimmy, just before we get speaking to these guys, I'm just going to get it out there one more time. So I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. 21st of June, next season, new season is starting. Please, guys, do sign up with it, especially if you have been watching along all season and fancy getting involved. Please do. It should be a cracker. And again, we've got some brilliant tracks. You remember all that. And if you don't, just rewind it a little bit after we go off there and you'll see all those tracks again for you. But no, that is absolutely brilliant. Look, Jimmy, shall we get speaking to a couple of these guys?
Yep, so let's give a start the interview. So we bring in our first place overall with Andrea Magli.
Yeah, absolutely. Andre had a great couple of races tonight. P2 in the first race, P1 in the second race. He's in here with us now. Andrea, good evening. How are you doing, sir? Oh, Andrea, can you hear us, buddy?
I think it's the quietest we've ever heard him.
Oh,
We
no.
could bring in Joseph Lopez and chat
Yeah,
to
we'll,
him.
we'll, we'll bring Andrea back in with us in a little bit, but I'm going to bring in, yeah, we'll bring in Joseph Lopez, my driver of the day for today. P2 in the second race and P5 in the first race. Joseph, how are you doing? How are you feeling this evening, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing very, very well this evening, mate. Look, that was a brilliant second race, especially. What happened there at the end, though, mate? You had P1, and then that last corner, we saw some craziness go on, and Phil Giles ended up taking the lead from you.
Yeah, I was doing everything I could to keep him from getting by me in the last corners, but just wasn't enough. So
No,
I was watching him catch up to me the whole time. So
I'll tell you what, you didn't have an easy night of it throughout both races. You were fighting throughout most of it. You were leading that second race for quite a bit of it as well before Andrea came through. And but obviously in the pros anyway, so that didn't make too much of a difference for you. It just seemed like there was something constantly going on for you all race, all well for both races this evening. Was it quite a tough one out there?
yeah, I feel like it was just bad luck or my bad driving or something. I don't know what was going
No,
on.
no, you had a good race, mate. You had a good race, and you did in fact actually get the driver of the day as well for the
Yeah,
AM
all right.
class as well. So hey, look, don't doubt yourself, mate. You had a brilliant race out there. But look, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to say thank you to and or say give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just give a shout out to everybody else who was racing. They all did a really good job.
No, there you go, there you go. Always good to speak to you, Joseph. Look, we'll catch up with you next week, hopefully for the last race of this season.
Sounds great.
You have a good one, mate. Take care.
You too.
All right, then. Shall we try and get Andrea in here again with us?
Yeah, let's try again and have a little chat with him. See how he gets on.
And Andrea, good evening. Can you hear us now?
Yeah, sorry guys. Hello. I'm sorry.
Andrea,
Yeah.
no, it is okay, my man. It is okay. Good evening. So good to speak to you. P2 in the first race, P1 though in that second race, and an absolute phenomenal race from you there. Absolute dominating performance. How you feeling though, mate? How you doing this evening?
Yeah, I mean, quite mixed feelings. I'm definitely going to to watch the replay. There is a lot that happened, not only with me, but I've seen some crazy things. Yeah, I'm going to watch the replay, see what
Oh,
went and what was going on and everything. Yeah.
I tell you, mate, no, you'll be in for a good one. There was lots of fighting in that one going on between everybody for both races.
Mhm.
There was a P1 position change at the end in the AMs as well, just behind you going on as
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
There was a lot of craziness going on, mate. So no, I do enjoy it when you watch it back. But no, you had an absolutely great one tonight, mate, and you did indeed get the pro driver of the day as well. So congratulations on that little bit of an extra
Oh,
weekend
yeah.
award for you there. You don't get
Perfect.
anything
Thank you.
for it. You just get the knowledge to know that we picked you. But
Yeah, that's
no,
the satisfaction of it. Yeah.
no. Well, it's always good to speak to you, Andrea. And look, we've got one race left of the season, and I'm sure you'll be looking forward to it, won't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with all what happened, it's always bad to see like rivals that became friends and are still rivals, see where they ended up. But still, looking at the championship, that's really the best
Hey,
result that could have had today. Yeah.
no, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And going into that last race of the season, you could potentially see yourself the crown champion by the end of it, depending on how everything else went. I
Yeah.
think points wise, that couldn't have gone any better for you this evening.
Yeah, exactly. Once again, we are not rooting for that close and fair racing like the start in race one. I had such a blast with Jack and with everyone I fought. There was a little bit of paint rubbing or like paint exchange that
Yeah,
happens
definitely.
also. Um, but yeah, let's see how we go into that last race of the championship, yeah, of the season.
No, absolutely, mate. Look, and we look forward to it indeed. And hopefully, we'll be seeing you on the 21st for the next season as well, mate. The Fast
Yeah,
Eight.
we'll see about that. Yeah.
No, there's no
I'm
we'll see
still
about
feeling.
that. Andrea, we will see you next season and we will be speaking to you again. But look, listen, before we let you go, anyone you want to say thank you or give a shout out to?
Yeah, I would like to give a shout out to all the friends that watched that race. If there is any, I've sent the link to everyone. And yeah, shout out to anyone that came, and obviously every racer that was here today, and you guys also for entertaining us and commenting those interesting races. Yeah,
Oh, well, thank you very much. And thank you as well from us to you for sharing that link as well. And make sure you keep doing it, buddy. We want to grow
with
this.
pleasure.
We want to grow this thing, grow the Tanzo Racing Group and get as
Yeah.
many people in here as we can. But look, mate, you go and yourself have a good one. And we will see you next week for the final race of the season.
Yeah, looking forward to it, guys. See you. Enjoy the evening too. And yeah, bye bye.
See you later, mate. Have a good evening. Hey, I always do enjoy speaking to Andrea Jones. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. I mean, I love speaking to everyone in this
No,
league. There's a
I
lot of
really do. No, I really do as well. I really do as well. There's such a great group of guys. Now, I think we got another one coming. I think we're going to speak to Lee Martin as well. So Lee finished P4 in the first race, P2 in the second race, but obviously P8 and P9 out on track. Lee, first of all, good evening. How you doing?
Oh, good evening. Did you say P2?
P2, yes, mate. You got P2 out there in that second race, believe it or not.
I was a lap down. How did everybody else got taken out then?
Well, Jack Veazey didn't finish the race, so that took him out. There was only then yourself, Andrea, and Rick involved in the for the pros, mate, in class. So no, between you and Rick as well for that last few minutes after your pit stops as well, gave some great racing at the back of the pack. But yes, it was for P2 and P3, mate. So congratulations, P2, if you weren't aware.
I wasn't, but thank you. I guess sometimes better to be lucky than good after that travesty, huh?
Well, this is why myself, and especially Jim, always says it pays for you guys, no matter what happens. And we did obviously spot that you had the fast repair, and then you got the black flag for speeding in the pit exit, and you had to go back in. And then Rick had an issue when he was in the pits, but it paid off. And we always say it pays off to stay out on track no matter what happens, even if you're a lap or so behind. And like you said yourself, you were a lap behind and you've come P2 in that race. Pays off.
Well, you know, and I'll tell you, the first race was a bit of a travesty as well. Something was wrong with the computer. I was getting about 70 frames a second. And
Oh,
so I had trouble with the first race. I had time to reboot before the second and was looking forward to a good clean run that lasted about a lap. But I will say, Rick, I think, was just incredibly gracious. An unfortunate event in that second race, but as always, a great group of guys, and I'm glad I'm glad we at least made it interesting at the end.
no, you really did. Because obviously, when we saw that Rick had to come in as well, me and Jim were both saying, okay, I think Rick's going to have his fast repair, he's going to be in and he's out. It might allow Lee Martin back into it a little bit. But then, no, literally, I tell you what, if watch it back, because the camera work on it from our cameraman was phenomenal at that point. The two of you two coming out with himself in the pit and you coming down that first corner, it really made some great viewing, mate. And no, put you straight up there into P2. And you was pretty close for it for the rest of that race there. So no, real interesting viewing, mate.
Yeah, it was great racing with him. Unfortunate about the pit stop. Apparently, I've got to read up on the rules. I thought it was a drive-through, but apparently it was a 40-second hold.
Well, no,
So
we thought it was a drive-through as well, and then we realised that you were stopped there, and it was stop and go. So there you go.
fair enough. Well, huge tip of the hat to Rick for keeping it fun at the end and great sportsmanship all around. And, you know, like I said, sometimes better to be lucky than good, but I guess we'll take it. Two pit
No,
stops.
absolutely. Look, Lee, it's always a pleasure speaking to you, mate, and we don't like to keep you guys for too long after a couple of races. So look, before we let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Oh, always you guys. And this week, I'm going to thank my wife and my mom. I think she's watched, and think she picked a bad week to watch with that disaster. But thanks for
Hey,
watching. Have a great one.
bad week, good result, mate, and that's all you can say about that one. Dust your hands off and then go again for the last one next week.
You bet. Have a great one. Thanks as always, gentlemen.
And yourself, you take care. Always good to speak to the boys there, Jimmy. Always good. And we had a couple of good races tonight, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, that first race was unfortunate that the incident spread everyone out a little bit, but the second race though was just craziness, and I loved it. Yeah, phenomenal all around.
No, absolutely loved it as well. And that second race, like Lee said, like for the back of the pack, but to be fighting for P2 and P3, you don't ever expect to see something like that, be calling something like that. So no, it really does make some great racing. But Jimmy, sadly, it's that time. It is going to have to be the checkered flag from us here at Barber Motorsport Park, and it's going to have to be the checkered flag from us here at Broadcasting, my mate. I just want to say before I go, thank you to everybody at home for watching. And Jimmy, thank you as always for being next to me each and every week as we do this. Any final words from yourself?
Yep, thank you guys. And yeah, we've been treated to another absolute quality race evening here at Barber. And next week we're over to northern Spain for the high-speed technical track that is Navarra. One we talked about a fair bit during this race. Slightly different layout to the one we're going to see next season. So it'll be a different race overall. But yeah, you get a little teaser of what's to come, I guess. But before we sign off, just want to say thank you to the Tanzo Racing Group again for hosting us this evening. And thank you to Valhalla Liveries and us here at Trackside Broadcasting for sponsoring the season. And finally, a big thank you to you all at home for being here, supporting your favourite drivers. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future races. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we shall catch you on the next one. Good night.